right? Because instead of sitting there, picking little by little, right, having 12 slaves sitting around picking it, they could quickly do this. So if it's faster now to clean the cotton, what does that mean?
More cotton gets picked.
More cotton gets picked.
Higher demand.
More money, right? Higher demand for what?
For slaves.
For slaves, right? Because if more cotton needs to be picked, because they want to make more money, there's a higher demand for slaves. Okay? So Eli Whitney, while he is a brilliant individual, didn't help with the slavery aspect of it, right? Okay? But it was a great invention in terms of the economy and for the plantation owners themselves. Okay? And then here's the moving of slaves, or rebellion. The moving of slaves, this is how one artist portrayed it, right? So they would go from state to state, and you see the white men on horseback are beating and hitting the slaves so that they stay in order, right? You see children and women. So it wasn't pretty. Right, it wasn't pretty, unfortunately. And that map is from 1850. It's hard to see, but 1850. One of these days my projector will be a little better than green, though, right? It's always better than green. All right, so this is one of those auctions that I was talking about, okay? So we have the auctioneer right here, and he would go, all right, I got a man and a woman and a small child for sale. They're all healthy. The man is 35. He's clear of diseases. We'll start the bidding at $50, okay? And then they would bid, all right? Okay? Do you think that all families stayed together? No, they didn't, right? Sometimes it was more beneficial to keep a family together. If they're both young, they both can still work, right? The kid almost looks old enough that they could leave it with, one of the mothers or something, or one of the mistresses of the house. So then those two could go out on the field, right, and pick. And then in a couple of years, the little kid would be old enough to work in the fields as well. So sometimes it was beneficial, but most of the time it was easier to just sell them separately. And we see after the Civil War, we see a lot of families trying to reunite together in the South after being separated. Okay, and then here, this is a little bit later on, right? We have pictures of the slaves that are up for auction. Okay, so they would promote these, and you go, oh, that guy looks, he looks like he could do good in my plantation, things like that. So, like we said earlier, it was very, very much like property. All right, so slavery in the nation. So we kind of talked about slavery in the South, why it was important, right? We see cotton being the driving force behind all of this, okay? But we have still an entire northern nation that we need to talk about, right? What are they doing at this time? What's going on? Free. They're free, right? Yes, they are free states, okay? They're free states. They had ended slavery, okay? But they were hardly unaffected by it. Okay, so it wasn't like you hit this. Anybody watch? I know you do. Once Upon a Time. Yeah. It wasn't like Storybrooke where you couldn't step out and then you forget everything, right? That line isn't a brick wall that you can't cross. This is still all affected by each other. Okay, so even though they were free states, slavery still greatly affected the northern region. Okay, and vice versa, right? The economies are one and the same. Okay. All right, so the Constitution that we talked about, right? That great document of ours, enhanced the power of the South in the House of Representatives and Electoral College, and required all states to return fugitives from bondage. What does that mean? That's a lot of gibberish. Why does it enhance the power of the South in the House of Representatives?
Because they made a big part. The South made a big part of the House of Representatives and were big.
Okay, good. Okay.
Because slaves counted for 3/4 of a person in the House of Reps, so if they had more slaves, they had more population.
Good. All right. Good. So yes, you're right. Okay. First of all, look how massive some of these states are. I mean, compared to, you got little Maryland right here, some little Maryland, and then little Vermont, and then you have Texas, right? Okay. So you have 1/3 bigger Texas. Texas is quite large. So you have growing is 1/3 of the population. Okay? House of Representatives are chosen by population. Right? So they're like, yay! So they have more power in the House of Representatives because they have a greater population. They probably would have had a greater population either way, but those slaves, which made up how much of the population? 1/3. 1/3 of the population, right? Okay, and electoral college because, do you guys remember?
By population.
Yes, electoral college is by population as well because it's the number of representatives plus the number of senators. So the more representatives you have, the more electoral college votes you get, meaning you can vote for president. Okay. So they're getting a lot of power, right? And it required all states to return fugitives from bondage. What?
So anybody in jail.
Close. If we're talking about fugitives in the South, what would those be?
Black people are right?
Black slaves that ran away, right? Okay. It was a requirement now at this time that if a slave ran away and made it to New York City, and it was found out that he was a slave and the master was looking for him, it was a requirement by northern states to take them back. Okay? Right? So that was like, South was like, yeah, that's awesome. We can always get our slaves back. Alright? Does that make sense? Okay, so the South holds a lot of power, okay, that affects the North. Okay? Yeah.
At one point, don't they make their own constitution, like the Confederate Constitution?
Yes, they do. They do. We will talk about that. That's like big in the Civil War.
Yeah.
There. We'll get there. Okay. But yes, they do. Yep. All right. How are we doing on our notes? Are you guys getting them all? Okay, good. All right. So slavery and the nation continued. Northern merchants and manufacturers participated in the slave economy and shared in the profits. So even though they themselves may not have slaves, okay, they're definitely participating in the economy, okay, just by being manufacturers and yeah.
Do you know how we have those things that are like, oh, this is made completely in the USA? Did the North have anything that's that, or like without animal testing and that kind of stuff? Did the North have anything like made completely without slave labor?
Other way around.
Oh.
South did. Yep. Hand grown by slaves, things like that. Yep. Okay. But since it was such an international, we were the leaders in slave. I hate that. That makes it sound like it's a good thing. But we were internationally known for slavery at this time. Like that's what we're known for because they're growing. How much of the world's cotton? 3/4 of the world's cotton, right? Yes, numbers. See, I can incorporate math into history. That's smart. So we're seeing 3/4 of the amount of cotton being grown by slaves in the South in the United States. So it was just well known. So it wasn't necessarily that they had to, but it was just kind of a gimme, right? Oh, South has slaves, right? Okay, so money earned in the cotton trade helped to finance industrial development and internal improvements in the North, okay? Because we pick the cotton in the South, and then where does it go? Goes north to do what?
Into clothes.
Right, to be processed, right? Then who gets profits from that? North, right? The northern factories, right? So they're buying the cotton, okay, trading, however, whatever they decide to do. They're going to get the profits from the goods that they create, okay? All right, northern ships carried cotton to New York and Europe. Northern bankers financed cotton plantations. Northern companies insured slave property, and northern factories turned cotton into cloth. So basically, the North is responsible for doing everything besides growing and picking the cotton, right? So if they're the ones who are exporting it, okay, northern bankers are the one who's financing everything. Northern companies are insuring slave properties and the slaves, right? Because slaves are part of the property. Okay, and northern factories turn the cotton into cloth. They are the bulk of the industry. If you think about it, pretty crazy. So North wasn't, like I said, there wasn't a